I'd like to call the regular board meeting to order at 7:34 on July 27th. Roll call, please.
Mayor Jerry Daly.
Here.
Trustees George Peterstein.
Here.
Chris Schnauweth. Here. Wally Priest.
Here.
Gary Colville. Here. Jack Schnauweth.
Here.
And Georgine Rubenstein. Here.
Okay, we have quorum. Motion for approval of the agenda. So moved.
Second.
Call.
Trustees George Peterstein.
Aye.
Chris Schnauweth.
Aye.
Wally Priest.
Aye.
Gary Colville.
Aye.
Jack Schnauweth.
Aye.
And Georgine Rubenstein. Motion carried.
Okay, public comments and welcome back.
Okay.
Jackie, you're free.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ann Richmond, 154 Tall Oak Drive. I'm assuming I should limit my comments to the general things and keep my chapter 12, 13, 15, 16 comments to the public comments in section H.
The other chapters won't be before the board for discussion until next month. If there's something, if you want to now share something briefly that you'd be interested into looking into before, feel free.
Okay.
Anything under 10 seconds.
Okay. Okay, in chapter 13, billing cycle definition is not really a definition.
I'm sorry.
In chapter 13 of the proposed ordinances, the definition of billing cycle is not really a definition of billing cycle for water billing. It's 13.0.
Okay, we'll look at it. Thank you.
And just overall, there's still a bunch of edit marks throughout where words have been stricken that probably need to be cleaned up, and then the margins are just all over the place.
So what you saw was a working draft. Okay. The final copy, I mean, we do have a final copy that the board has at this point. So
will the final copy be visible for people to read?
Certainly should be. We'll see if we can put up in the next day or two.
Okay. All right. So then my general comment is just to get a status of how our wells are doing, given our severe drought, and the follow-up is what are the current water restrictions, if any, and how are they being enforced?
Okay. At the beginning, probably in April or May, I made a suggestion to the board that we redo our water restriction ordinance because it's one that, the way it reads, it's a flip-flop, even odd day, only between the hours of 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. can you water. The enforcement officer is me. And I can tell you, I don't go driving around looking for sprinklers. Don't. What I suggested to the board at that time, and this will lead to a point, is that we put the wording such that this ordinance could be activated when needed. All right, the board chose not to pursue that or go that way, so I've asked our engineers, Robinson engineers, to track the depth of our aquifers, our well, not the well depth, but I think the measurement actually is from the bottom of the pump, or the bottom of the line, and up. How deep is our water? And they are going to do that until the end of August. I had a conversation with that engineer just last week and asked in general, how is that going? And he said, in the early days where we had the string of 90-degree days, the depth dropped a few feet. Now we're talking, and don't hold me precisely, but I think we're talking about 150 feet of water that we already have above the suction point. So he said it dropped a few feet, and then after the 90 degrees passed, it came right back up. So my hope is when they issue this report to me in August, we'll be able to have a trend line of how we made it through this summer to see if the ordinance is necessary as is or if we can change it. How is it being enforced now? As I just said, I'm the enforcement officer, and I'm not making laps. But as I have in many situations, somebody calls me and says, look, so-and-so is doing this, I will address that particular issue. I feel less driven to do that since I know our water levels are fine. Okay?
And do you plan to make that, make a proposal on that report, or make that report known to the public at the next meeting in August?
It may not be ready by the August meeting, but it will certainly be part of the meeting. And if it ends up as a written report, like I hope it will be, it'll be in the packet.
Or at least, you know, just a summary from their point of view on how we're doing. I think that's the only thing I had was the concern there. And if you were to start enforcing the odd, even days, what are the consequences for someone who is
I believe they are.
You burn a house down.
Please don't. We've already got enough troubles with burning
I
houses.
believe it falls under, it can be a fine, which is usually done through a ticket. My approach through my time as mayor is if there's been a violation, I typically send a violation letter giving people X number of days to rectify that. In this particular case, if we chose close enforcement, it would probably be either personal contact or phone contact. Say, look, you can't do it this way. This is your warning. If it's reported again, then we start with a $25 ticket. And then typically, what my practice has been is tickets have doubled in cost for ongoing violations.
All right, thank you.
There are exceptions if somebody has a new lawn that they put in or a new garden, they're not restricted to watering.
Well, you can also hand water anytime, anywhere, if you're willing to stand out there with a hose. Okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ann. Mr. Williams?
Yes, sir. Good evening, everybody. Okay, 2 questions. Oh, I'm sorry. Douglas Rowe Williams, 154 Tall Oak Drive. My first question is, when Mayor Soto was here, I know that they had developed a comprehensive plan for the village, and we were talking about the zoning and so forth. I would love to spend more money locally if we did have like the development that they were talking about on the other side of the village. We spend a lot of money in downtown Grays Lake because there are no desirable restaurants and so forth here where people can walk to or at least drive to nearby. So that's one question.
I think the owners of Bentos might argue with you. But
Oh, yeah, I agree. So that's a question, if that plan is still in the works, and because I would love to really see us have a commercial area. And this
let me address
sure.
that then, okay?
Sure.
The comprehensive plan that was developed when Linda was mayor, most of us were trustees here, is still active. It's very outdated, and it was a budget item for this year to redo, and it got cut. It'll be up again next year, maybe in a slightly less expensive format. As far as a larger development, the village owns none of the land south of the tracks. The gun club owns most of it, and then there are probably half a dozen to a dozen lots on the east, south of the tracks, east end of the property, of the gun club property, that are owned individually. We have had in my time, either as trustee or as mayor, no one approached us about commercial development. And when you look across Allegheny, you see probably the reason why. The great, what do they call it? The Grays Lake Central Prairie development, where Medline has built that massive building. What kind of goes against us, though, is Grays Lake has the money to entice people in. They have that huge piece of property that's already got water, sewer set up and developed. They are easier to get to than we are. So I can't say that we have a cohesive development plan for larger restaurant, or for restaurants or industry or small industry.
We do have, it's zoned commercial all the way on the north side of 120, including those rental houses, those brown rental houses.
Yeah.
All of that is already zoned commercial. And the same thing on the other side, on the south side of 120. So we've zoned that, it's just that we don't have anything to do.
A lot of that, the south is where Russo and that is, that's zone commercial. South of the tracks is ag.
So,
South of where Gun Club is?
oh no, I wasn't going that far, I'm just along.
Okay, the strip, yeah. And then we have some property along 134 that is privately owned, and we've had 2 people call us in the last month or so with some unique ideas for development, but none of them have followed up. Okay?
Okay. And the second one is more of a security issue. This 4th of July was just, lack of a better word, horrendous. And it's been like that with the fireworks. Even though they're illegal in the state of Illinois, everybody has them. And then we're in a severe drought. You're talking about potential fires. Well, one of our neighbors, which we talked about, had fireworks lined on her roof, called Grays Lake Police. Did they ever show up?
Multiple hours later.
Multiple hours later. And so one question is, when is their contract up for renewal? Because what I think I would like to see is that process go through again. You know, like county sheriff, I'm sure would be interested and see what they're offering. And the other part is because early on they even told us, we're not giving you a dedicated car. So we don't have a dedicated car here unless that's changed.
Yes, we do, yeah.
Okay, when did that change?
So we're one of the districts, just like the zones that Grays Lake had, we're one of
5 districts.
One of the
We're
5
fifth
districts that they patrol.
Well, no,
There's a car assigned to District 5, which is us, every day of every week of every month. Now, can that car be pulled out for some reasons? Yes.
Yeah.
If they're needed in another district to aid another officer, if there's a multi-car crash somewhere, yeah, they can be pulled out. So can I swear that we have a car in Hainesville 24/7? No. Back up to the county, that when I was in the initial negotiations when we ended up going with Grays Lake Police, and we talked to the county at that time, their response time was, I don't want to use the word guaranteed, but they said could be a half hour. So the response time from Grays Lake is much quicker. I agree with you about the fireworks 100%. My dog is still shook up from our 3-week-long fireworks festival. I know, having spoken to the chief on the topic, they had extra people on, they roam. There's too many of us, too few of them. They are down 4 officers right now, either injury or retirement. They have a couple coming in on training. There's just not enough police to go around on something like this. And if anybody else has a better or another idea on what we can do, I hate fireworks.
Yeah, same here. I'm with you on that one.
The big balloons that just rattle the windows and shake everybody up. I feel for the veterans, the war veterans that have to put up with that. and the memories have come back. I just haven't been able to come up with an answer that makes any sense to me.
So again, I would just like to revisit it because the other reason it came to mind with the Lake County Sheriff was I was walking home maybe a month ago and I saw Lake County Sheriff driving down Tall Oak. And I just said, hey, he goes, is there something wrong? I go, no. I just have a question for you. If that was still an option and what, does he really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So what he told me was, no, Doug, if you sign a contract with us, we cannot pull your car. We will have a car dedicated 17 hours a day and all the other services that comes with it. Because you remember that's what they offered us. And they said, whoa, okay. Yeah.
I'm not going to comment.
No, and I'm sorry, but if we could at least research it, what would be the
Our contract with the police goes until 2026.
That's a lot of fireworks.
Now, it can be terminated through
Yeah.
proper procedures. I don't know how the board would feel about that. I know how I feel about it, but I'll get you in a minute, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
You also, other questions, sir?
Oh, no, just those. So the other one was more of a comment, and I know that we're not always going to agree, on things that happen policy-wise, but, and I couldn't make that meeting, but I was very disappointed with the unanimous vote for the 134 development. When a lot of our neighbors that came, it was unanimous that we were not in favor of that. And I'm even more utterly disappointed by the two village trustees that live in our side and still voted for it. So I guess that's just more of a comment.
Are you familiar? You might be of an age, you may be too young, of the Spencer Tracy, Catherine Hepburn movies.
Oh, I remember that. No, I didn't watch that one.
Viva la difference.
Yeah.
Okay. You did have another question on here about 71 Tall Oak, the firehouse.
Yeah.
They are set for another inspection tomorrow for frame out
Yeah.
that they've done. So they are making progress. They are a husband and wife who work full-time that are trying to do this generally on their own. So it's slow moving.
Sure.
And I'm trying to accommodate the neighbors' concerns with the buildup of materials in the front, but I'm also trying to understand that these people are working full-time.
No, and it looks good. Now, 63 West Tall Oak, it's been under contract for I don't know how long, and that sign is still up now. And
I finally got the owners, or the potential owner's name and number last week, and had a quick conversation with her about cutting the grass.
yeah.
It's a short sale.
What is it?
That's why it's taking forever. I've spoken to the realtor, I've spoken to the owner,
Okay.
and it's caught up in banks.
Gotcha.
And none of them listen to me.
Okay.
Okay, sir?
Okay. Yes.
On our firehouse, they were working on it this morning because I was out meeting and they were banging away, and now they have a big dumpster in their driveway, so.
No, it looks better.
So they're definitely working on it.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Sir, you had a question? Come on up, please.
My name is James Jesse. I live on Brittany Lane in Misty Hill subdivision, and it's more of a comment than a question. I just wanted to say that I can't speak to police department response times because I haven't had an occasion to call them, but I do know that the presence seems quite good. I see them on in my neighborhood a lot. I see the police driving by, and I'm very grateful for that and happy. So I think it seems like we have adequate police coverage.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions or comments from the public? Come on down.
Lindsay Carden. A quick piece of Heritage Trail.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
I'm a little hard to hear.
And I'm in my mask, I'm sorry. Lindsay Parr of Heritage Trail. I can use my music teacher voice if you'd like. I was curious about how the Firestone is going, because it's been taking quite some time.
Firestone, how's it going?
Oh, spoke to the owners and the architect last week. They're putting on the final touches to turn in their application for the building permit. They've been given, or they have earned a grading permit, so they could actually start on the dirt work, but but they decided to double it up. They have to submit their plans again and back up. They submit plans, that goes to our Lake County Building Department and our engineers, and the plans get reviewed for technical information. They did not pass that, which is just pretty much standard. You need to add this or do that, then they resubmit. There were just minor changes, so that has to be resubmitted. Once they pass that and they pay us the various fees they owe, then they will be issued a building permit and then they can start.
So
I know they hope to start by the end of August, but I've heard that for 3 years now.
right, because they were, I look forward to them starting because I would like to return business to them. And at the moment, I can't go back to them because they're so busy. They're and it's just, and when you're a teacher and you've got too much going on, so I really look forward to seeing that development happen because they've worked on our family's cars. I've been in Hainesville on and off since I was 10 years old, so 23 years. So it was kind of stumped to switch.
I was going to guess 10 years.
Actually, it was 10 years here, some underlying, came back.
Okay.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I've just been waiting.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda. So moved. Second. Roll call.
Trustees George Duberstein.
Aye.
Chris Chanoweth. Aye. Wally Priest.
Aye.
Harry Caldwell. Jack Chanoweth.
Aye.
And Georgianne Duberstein. Motion carried.
Reports. Finance. Ms. Cole.
Nothing new right now, getting ready for the auditors to start next week, I believe.
Seems like we just got on a budget now more than audit. Public Works, Roy.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, I met with Tim Seiler, our new Public Works Superintendent. We had a good discussion. Went over the list of projects to be completed. He kept me updated on the projects that we had on our list to be completed this year. A lot of them we were short-handed, so they are put on hold. Some of them, I should say, they're going to do what they possibly can do. Most of the tree work is going to be put off until August or fall, I should say September or October. One of the things that they do have to move, but we're not, I guess the mayor with the water connect is going to be on hold right now. So one of them was getting rid of the bins in the back for, there was the wood chips and all the other stuff on the gravel they kept back there. And Tim was asking what was going to be developed in this property in front of the Public Works building, whether he could make a nice building for all these things, so we could have storage, we could store all our stuff there, versus storing it in the back part there. So we haven't talked to the mayor about it yet, but by the end of fall, it needs to be all moved so the water can come in on that side. So that's what we discussed. Among other things on his plans on how the department should go. So with that, I'll just read Tim's report. Okay, this is below are the items the Public Works Department is working on and are completed over the month. Several pipes, including Union Square Pond, have been jetted and cleaned. Inlets have been cleaned of weeds and restoned for proper function and appearance. We have removed several lager trees with Dave. Larger. Oh, is that what it is? Yeah, I was saying, wait a second. Okay, well, that's what I read it like it is. Overlooking the ponds between Misty Hill and Stillwater, and we took down 6 willows that were rotten and posing danger to the nearby houses and property. Removal went smoothly as planned. Started removing some parkway trees as part of the yearly replacement plan. Expanded our mowing zones along the west entrance of town on 120 and along the Hainesville Road, adjacent to Cranberry Lake Path. Dave Schultz donated his time to his expansion of our town's continuous beautification. We have continued to maintain and try to catch up with the wetland areas where we maintain as well, which we maintain as well as the areas we have ventured in with the forestry planner from last year. What they're doing is they're going behind properties, like in the wetlands and stuff, like cutting an 8-foot path around so that gives a little buffer zone between the wetlands and the back properties that back up to the east. The road resurfacing on our center in Aspen, White, and Elk off of Bighorn has been completed. Rejuvenation application, which would significantly extend the life of the road, will commence about mid-August. Some of the coming up projects are the storm basic repairs on manholes. There's 5 that need to be done. They completed 1 already. They're starting to repair sidewalks that have been on our continuous list of sidewalks to be replaced, and the removal of the hazardous large willow on the south side of Bighorn near Deer Crossing, and it's in one of the backyards, and it's leaning over the residents' property and stuff like that they're going to take. IML is going to start trenching. I think they brought their equipment in today. Yeah, I think. Okay, so they're going to start the channelization going out to Hainesville Road. And RH WIT will be installing the meters in the Public Works building starting yesterday or today. Okay. So that, and then he says, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. That's it.
All right, thank you, sir. George, community events. Do you have any voice left?
Yes.
Just checking.
I was able to get about 10 of the
Someone's phone. There we go.
the sponsor letters out for this war reenactment. I got to give kudos and thanks and appreciation to our deputy clerk who helped us. It was a little problem with some
Formatting.
yeah, and she was able to finally take some time out of her busy schedule to rectify that. So those are out, and I'll be able to now work on the extra 30 or so letters this week and next week, get those out and get some stuff in the schedules on various calendars, Daily Herald, and various other calendars around. So we have that on the docket. And once I get that out of the way, then I'll be able to get back to the emergency operation plan, which hopefully I'll have a draft to you by the next meeting.
I've only got 3 years left in office, George. 3.5. Okay. Anything else, sir? No. All right, thank you. Great Age Club, Georgianne.
The Great Age Club had their annual picnic at Nipperson Forest Preserve. We had 15 seniors, and it was a potluck, and it was great. Our next meeting is the first Thursday in August, which is the 5th of August, and we're having a detective from our police department come and talk about scams. So need to remind Kathy to put that out on the...
Let me just interrupt for a second. How many of you folks have been hit with phishing emails or scam attempts in the last month? Come to the meeting.
Yeah, you don't have to be a senior. No.
So maybe we can work something out to put on the website so that other seniors or anybody can come.
Okay.
It's not just going to be for seniors to come and hear them talk. Meeting is at 10:30 on Thursday, the 5th of August, here in the Village Hall. We had a garage sale this weekend. I couldn't order cooler weather, but it was successful in any event. We had over 30 homes participate, and 16 of them were willing to donate to the Salvation Army, who came around yesterday and picked up all the leftovers. So I think it was a success. I'm going to send out a survey to the ones who participated to see if we might change the dates from Friday, Saturday, Sunday to Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But we'll see about that next year. Another thing is there was a meeting of Lake County Department of Transportation regarding paratransit, which is for the disabled and seniors. And as you may know, the county had a 2-year market study to determine things that needed to be improved or changed or gotten rid of or whatever, dealing with paratransit in the county. Well, what they've decided is they're going to have a countywide, it will be the first time, a countywide paratransit service. And the county will be the executive organizers of it. And it's still in the very infant stages of getting it put together, but at least that's been a determination. And there are going to be exciting things happening, and I will keep you posted as it comes to mind.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Can I ask a question?
Certainly.
When do you hope to have that?
I have no idea how soon they're just going to get everything going. They've had like 50 some odd agencies that have handled paratransit throughout the county. So how they're going to get them to get on board, some of them will just keep their little service anyway, but they're working with PACE and the RTA.
Is this something that's going to fall under Linda's area of interest?
I'm sure she's going to be, well, she was the chairman of the working group that was tasked with finding a leading group to oversee everything. And with a little arm twisting, the county agreed to take that position.
Okay.
And as being the executive director of the LC,
Whatever.
yeah, whatever. I'm sure she's involved in the discussions along with the gal that Kathleen O'Connor, who was the president of May County Consolidated Transportation Services Committee, which will be disbanded eventually. So I won't have to say that too much more. Once things have moved along the road.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Madam Clerk,
Nothing to report.
I have one thing that's not in the packet. I know I have mentioned it to the board before, but for the public, as part of the COVID allotment of funds to the state and to smaller municipal entities such as ourselves, we are on board to receive $483,553.55. A portal is just opened this week for communities to log in, submit the necessary paperwork to get this going. One of the payments, about 50% of it will be given by the end of August, and then the other 50% next year. I have a limited knowledge at this point of what it can be used for. So the board will be making a decision on that, or at least making a recommendation once I get this portal, get into it, and provide them with the necessary financial information. So we'll try to keep everybody posted on that. Okay. Obviously, the presentation of the proposed titles. Maura Ragoni, Robinson engineer, who has worked on this and with Jackie Wells since the very beginning, called me yesterday, and her daughter has COVID. So she said she'd feel better if she did not attend. So this, and who could argue? So she will make this presentation at the August meeting. Okay. That takes care of that. I need a motion, if you agree with me, to table number 1, the approval of the ordinance repealing and replacing Title 17. Move. Second. Roll call.
Trustees George Duberstein.
Aye.
Chris Chanowith.
Aye.
Wally Crease.
Aye.
Mary Koval. Jack Chanowith.
Aye.
And Georgianne Duberstein.
Aye.
Motion carried.
The second one, and this, I'm assuming, I will ask is there any desire that at this meeting, even though we haven't had the presentation, to approve the other titles? Fair enough. I need a motion to table number 2, the approval of ordinance repealing and replacing titles 12, 13, 15, and 16.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustees George Duberstein.
Aye.
Christian Alves.
Aye.
Wally Crease.
Aye.
Mary Koval. Jack Chanelith.
Aye.
And Georgianne Duberstein. Motion carried.
Need a motion for the approval of personnel section 2.4 content regarding public works supervisor after hours call-out pay differential. Second was Georgianne. Roll call. Discussion. Roll call.
Trustees George Duberstein.
Aye.
Christian Alves.
Aye.
Wally Crease.
Aye.
Mary Koval. Jack Chanelith.
Aye.
And Georgianne Duberstein. Motion carried.
Need a motion for the approval of the personnel manual, section 3.2 content regarding the vacation calculations for the first year of vacation hours earned.
Second.
Check. Chris. Discussion. Roll call.
Trustees George Duberstein.
Aye.
Christian Alves.
Aye.
Wally Crease.
Aye.
Mary Koval. Jack Chanelith.
Aye.
And Georgianne Duberstein. Motion carried.
Need a motion for the approval of Lake County Transportation Alliance membership for $265.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Yes. After our meeting with Ms. Soto, I emailed from their website requesting the current list of active members to the LCTA. I haven't heard a word. My intent is that I will notify her of the approval of this, if that's the way the vote goes, which I assume it will, and will say I will forward it as soon as I get that list. Further discussion? Roll call.
Trustees George Duberstein.
Aye.
Christian Alves.
Aye.
Wally Crease.
Aye.
Mary Koval. Jack Chanelith.
Aye.
And Georgianne Duberstein. Motion carried.
Motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting's closed. 8:10. Thank you all.